Hi, I'm Ariel. You're watching She Wants the Diction, and today I'm going to be talking about something I said 2 years ago. Now, a lot of you may not know this because I kind of let the date come and go without really saying anything or making a big announcement on my channel or Instagram or anything like that. But my channel anniversary was actually February 11th of last month. And as of that date, I have actually been on YouTube for 2 years, which is just wild to me to even think about. So, as you do, I was going back and rewatching some of my old videos, like my original first videos back when my channel was still called Drunk Book Reviews. Going back and watching one video in particular, I found something that I said that I no longer agree with, or at least I'm pretty sure I have different thoughts on. And I kind of caught myself out, and I was like a bit taken aback. I was like, wow, I really said that. Like, wow, I really thought that. And I was just a little shook. So I just wanted to play the clip real quick for you guys and then kind of like talk about it.
I definitely understand the other side that, like, is fucking pissed off and wants to fucking do something about it. But it's like, that's not how the civilized world works. And if you do that, you're just playing into the stereotype that you are a violent, angry, senseless, can't reason, you're not logical, animalistic type of person. And if you play into that stereotype, then people can write you off. You gotta basically like prove people wrong in a way. That's just what I think.
Okay, that was from my 7th video, which was a review of 40 Acres by Dwayne Alexander Smith. The context for this is I am kind of talking about racism. The book itself was a story about Black people kind of getting revenge on white people for the evils of slavery by having this retreat that they could kind of go to, which was basically a backwards plantation, as I called it, where they were waited on hand and foot and all the slaves were white people. Towards the end, I started talking about my thoughts on what we can do as people, as Black people, people of color, to address racism. And that was kind of what I said. And hearing that played back to me is kind of cringy. At the same time that I did believe for most of my life that I had to prove myself, it is true that as a person of color, you have to be so much better. You have to work, twice as hard as everyone else to get noticed and get treated with the same respect as, people with privilege, as like regular ass white people. That is fucking true. That is true that my entire life I have had to work hard to get the recognition and the things that I deserve, and I've had to be just a super hard worker, I've had to be good in school, I've had to do all these things to prove myself that most people don't have to worry about, and I've had to worry about all these things that most people don't have to worry about. Like, that is very true. That's the reality of my life as a mixed person. That is reality for me every single day. But at the same time, I'm cringing because at this point of my channel, I don't think I understood or knew of the term respectability politics, which for those of you who don't know what it is, I'll read out the definition real quick. Respectability politics is the set of beliefs holding that conformity to socially acceptable or mainstream standards of appearance and behavior will protect a member of a marginalized or minority group from prejudices and systemic injustices. Like, it's the idea that if you just do enough to earn the respect of the people in power, the majority, so in America that would be white people, then racism and prejudice and discrimination, all those things will not be an issue for you. And the problem with this kind of thinking is that your entire life, for example, me, you can go around your entire life trying to earn the respect of white people, trying to just be as proper and put together and well-spoken and intelligent as possible. Because if I should use language or terms, associated with Black people, or if, for example, if I listen to rap music at work while I'm around coworkers, I know that I could get judged as a stereotype for that, and that I could be treated more negatively because of that. So I purposely restrict behaviors that are stereotypical so that people do not have these preconceived judgments of me, and they have to go off of the way that I interact with them, the way that I treat them. But the problem with that is no matter how much respect people have for you to your face, and no matter how you don't give them any material to condescend to you with or treat you like a stereotype or make fun of you or say that you're stereotypical, no matter if you avoid doing all those things, there are still people that are gonna talk about you behind your back. The problem is, like, racists are going to be racist. whether or not you prove yourself a good Black person. I feel like there's always this weight on us to prove ourselves to the rest of the world, to prove ourselves as we're one of the good ones, you know, like that's the trap that you can easily fall into as a Black person. And it's hard not to, because like I said, you have to be so many times, you have to push so much harder and be so many times better for the same exact opportunities that most white people are just handed. And so it can be difficult to not uphold yourself to this insanely rigid standard where you're like, I have to be perfect. And especially in my mind, in living in such a white area where I am one of very few mixed or Black or people of color that most of these people come in contact with, I almost feel a personal responsibility to be a good example of my race. And that, I've said that before, I think in an Instagram clip that may have gotten deleted when I deleted my account and then started over, but bearing the burden of the weight of an entire race is just insane. Like, one person cannot do it. It is impossible. It's unrealistic. It is too much pressure. We cannot walk around bearing the burden of an entire race on our shoulders. But that is what I did for many, many years. For many, many years, I had this idea that I don't know, I had to be perfect. I had to live up. I had to prove every single negative thing that has ever been said in the history of Black people wrong. And that meant, honestly, that I denied a lot of myself. And thinking about this, okay, for example, in college, when I first started college back in like 2011, I did not listen to rap or R&B. And actually, I had a friend who tried to introduce me to it, and I was like, I can't listen to this. This is ridiculous. I'm gonna get stereotyped. This is all about guns, violence. I don't like this. Every single song you would put on, I would be like, I don't like this. I don't like this. I don't like this. But slowly, I started off with R&B like Neo and Jeremiah and all that shit. And then I graduated to, of course, Drake, the gateway drug. And then I found out, like, I do like rap. And I've been avoiding it all these years to avoid looking like a stereotype. And from there, I found Childish Gambino, who really spoke to my identity as a mixed person and was the first rapper I ever heard to really articulate what it felt like to exist as a mixed person, all the pressures and racism and microaggressions that you experience. So I was like, what the fuck? I do like rap, but I've been telling myself I can't listen to it because it's a stereotype. It all must be, the popular cultural idea is that it's all about guns and drugs and violence, and there's nobody talking about real issues, right? That's what they would have you believe. That's buying into the cultural idea of what rap is, when in reality, rap is a microcosm. There are so many different philosophies that each rapper embodies. There are so many different ideas within the genre of rap. And one of the reasons that it perpetuates, like, a lot of it talks about drugs and hustling and making money and guns, is because a lot of rappers come from a poor background. Like, there's a difference between gangster rap and then, like, you know, just mainstream rap, mumble rap. Like, there are so many categories, and all rap kind of gets lumped into gangster rap, which I feel like is a subgenre. So there's this idea that all rap is gangster rap. And obviously, I didn't really relate to a lot of the gangster rap. Like, I related to a lot of, you know, other figures like Drake, Childish Gambino, like, whatever you relate to in rap, you can find it. Like, and now I listen to stuff like A$AP Rock and Kendrick Lamar, and, you know, there's all these figures, but people would have you think it's only one fucking thing. And so I've been holding myself back from listening to rap my entire life because I believed the stereotypes, and I was told, I told myself that if you do this, people are going to judge you. People are going to think you're just another ignorant animal. People are going to think you're just another dumb N-word, for lack of a better term. And so I denied that of myself, when this genre is something that Black people created. Like, we made this. And, you know, we made a lot of other genres, jazz, soul, like, we created a lot of things. And so rap is like a genre that's primarily dominated by Black voices. It was created by Black people. Like, it is, in a sense, part of my heritage. So to deny myself this, like, denying a part of myself just because it's something that is a negative, has been stereotyped negatively in American society, is just wild to me now. And I feel like I've had so much growth, not even from back in college, but just from watching that clip, because I know now that everyone fucking deserves respect. And I know that the people that watch me on this channel probably watch me because I have a background where, like, you know, I've lived around mostly white people. I did attend college for 2 years, so it's not like I have no idea what I'm talking about when it comes to books and literature. Like, I was in IB classes, and I grew up in gifted programs, and, you know, and I speak relatively quote unquote white, which the fact that properness is associated with being white and proper English, and the idea of what proper even is, as if slang is just this illegitimate thing. Like, and I know that's probably why a lot of my audience, and also because I'm lighter, a lot of my audience will listen to me over a person who is black or may use more African American vernacular English or Ebonics. Or, you know, like, there are so many different factors that play into it. Like, I know there's colorism in the world, and I have a little bit of that privilege, although I am still, like, discriminated against. So, yeah, I know the respectability politics means that people who are blasting their gangster rap, using their slang, going about their lives, you know, doing whatever, who are darker than me, they all deserve respect. Women with, as opposed to me, I don't wear nails, I don't do wigs, weaves, whatever. I have my natural hair. People who wear their natural hair, afros and locks and dreads and whatever, they deserve respect. They deserve just as much respect as someone who wears wigs and wears weaves and likes long fake nails and colorful makeup. You know, like, and those things get associated with being ratchet and trashy and hood. But those people, those black people, deserve just as much respect as people like me, who may be more natural, more on the natural side, or, you know, are nerds, or have more, like, geeky interests. Like, every single black person deserves respect. And to not be subject to systemic racism, and the fact that we are treated differently based on how we outwardly project. Like, for example, black people are often told that they're too loud. So growing up being an introverted, shy person, I feel like naturally I go against that stereotype. But even the women who are louder, who are more expressive, who are more emotional, who are more extroverted, outgoing, they deserve just as much respect as me. Like, they are not angry black women. They are not too much, too loud, too this, too that. Like, I feel like respectability politics, I had this toxic idea for so long that I could earn people's respect, and I could make people not racist if I just proved to them that I am a good black person. But in reality, racists are going to be racist. There is nothing you can do about it on the individual level to make someone not a racist. You are not going to change their mind. So enjoy the things that you want to enjoy. You should be able to listen to rap music. And if you want to eat fried chicken, you could eat fried chicken and fucking drink Kool-Aid and eat watermelon. Like, you are allowed to have as stereotypical an interests as you want. And you should not be treated any differently because of that, because you're succumbing to a stereotype. Like, stop keeping yourself from enjoying things just because there is a stereotype against you enjoying those things. Like, tying into this, I recently just finished Tommy Pico's Nature Poem, where he talks about hating the idea of writing a nature poem because as an Indian, he feels it's like the biggest cliche. And throughout the poem, he's kind of writing a poem about how much he doesn't want to write a nature poem and all the things he'd rather talk about and rather do than write a nature poem, because it's basically become a cliche, a stereotype that Indians and nature, and he just, like, I guess, disdains that idea. And I could really relate to that on a fundamental level, because it's like, that was me with rap music. It's like, rap music is associated with being a trashy black person, with being a bad black person. And so I kept it. I denied myself that. But thankfully, you know, I made a black friend in college who was like, yo, this shit is tight. Like, this shit is dope. And they really just, like, kept pushing the issue. And I am so thankful that I had that idea challenged, like, that worldview. I feel like I'm continually having my ideas challenged and just learning more and more. And I love that I'm able to look back at my channel and see, like, visibly see and hear the growth, and recognizing things that I said that I no longer would 100% agree with. Like, I love that I have that record to be able to, as cringy as it may be, to see your old videos, to look back and see the, like, mental changes that I've gone through. So in Nature Poem, I feel like ultimately he keeps confronting the idea throughout the poetry. He keeps bringing up the idea of the nature poem every so often. And eventually this thought kind of surfaces, this internalized self-hatred almost of who he is. He's like, well, what if I do love nature? What if this is an important part of my heritage? Like, what if I truly do feel this, but I like don't want to admit it to myself? I don't want to admit to myself that I might like nature. I might want to write a nature poem. This might be part of who I am. And he has this kind of very hateful internal thought that is kind of what I feel like is the revelation of the book, like the crux where things change after that point. And he has that thought and he faces it head on. And I feel like that thought is indicative of the self-hatred, the hatred of the Indian people in culture that he's kind of internalized to the point where he is resisting writing this nature poem. But in the end, I feel like he comes to embrace this knowledge, like that by not writing a nature poem, he actually has written a nature poem, and he's confronted something within himself, and he's grown from it. Like, you can embrace your culture and embrace who you are as a person of color without relegating yourself to a stereotype. And we shouldn't live in a world where we should have to worry about becoming a stereotype, but the reality is that we do. And you shouldn't let that keep you from enjoying your culture or appreciating your culture or liking the things you want to like and liking the things associated with your culture. So yeah, nature poem, I really deeply understood that. Like, it was a completely different culture to my own, but I 100% understood what he was going through and the point that he was trying to make by writing that. So yeah, that little clip just really struck me, and I wanted to, I guess, since I haven't done anything for my 2-year anniversary, just kind of make a video expounding on the topic, which you guys might have gotten a little bit of a rant there, which wasn't my plan, but there you have it. Respectability politics are a bitch because you can do everything in the world. You can be fucking Obama and still have people disrespect you, calling you a monkey, calling you the N-word, telling you don't know what you're doing, you're stupid. Like, you can be as accomplished and well-spoken and whatever as you want, and that's not going to stop racists. So I guess the lesson is just to enjoy your life and don't worry about if people misunderstand who you are, and fight for every single person to be respected, regardless of how respectable they appear. Because respectability is just a set of cultural standards, and it doesn't matter how respectable you think a person is, they're still a person. Every single fucking person is still a person, and they deserve to be treated with the fundamental human respect, regardless of how much you think they deserve it, regardless of what your racist belief system tells you, and tells you that you should demean them, and they're lower than you, and they're beneath you. But no, every single fucking person deserves respect, and that is the truth. And I'm so glad that I finally have a term like respectability politics to put to this phenomenon. And I love that I love terms like microaggression. I love terms that encapsulate experiences so that I can feel less like I'm just feeling around. Even in one of my most recent videos that I made where I coined the term uniform discrimination to kind of highlight an issue that I've had throughout my work history, even just coining a term like that makes me feel more in control, more in power, because I'm using an exact term that when I speak about it, like, I feel like using a term like respectability politics, like, instead of it being a vague ass experience, it's defined into a definition like everyone can understand, everyone can look it up, and I feel so much more articulate when I talk about it. It's so much less nebulous, because I feel like a lot of the experiences that I have as a person of color are I'm just grasping. I'm grasping so hard to have the words to explain it. I mean, within myself and also to you guys when I'm like trying to externalize these experiences. If you guys haven't looked back at your channel for a while, you totally should, and just kind of like reminisce, I guess. That's really all this video was, I guess. Just a quick reminisce and sort of, you know, me calling out my past self. Do you ever just call out your past self? Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Peace.